Good afternoon. I'm Judy McGann, Superintendent of Schools for the Linwood Public Schools. And I just want to go over the the Lincoln Woodstock Cooperative School District reopening plan. And for the parents that have students in the school, we have sent that out to you. It is also on the website. And what else is it on? A Facebook page. And so you're more than welcome to, make copies of those. I just want to remind you that this plan is always changing. It's not a definite plan. Every week we have had meetings and updates from all the different agencies, whether it be from the Department of Health and Human Services or the New Hampshire Department of Ed or whatever, transportation, the lunch program, every component of this plan we've met with everyone. And as things change, the plan has to change. So it is this plan is in real time, as we say, so it will be changing from time to time. First thing I would like to just remind everyone is, because this plan is always changing and things are being updated all the time, we ask that during this time of COVID that we be flexible, we be patient, and we stay calm, because it is very frustrating. I get it, and we understand that it's just as frustrating for the school district as well. But I just want to remind people, if we could do that, that would be great. And if you have any input or questions about the plan, you can present that information on the website and or the address that is on the website that you can connect with the administration, and we will respond to those questions. Okay, so I'm going to start with the main component areas that we are looking at, and that's the guiding principles. The goals are to maintain safety, health, and wellness, both physically and emotionally. We're looking at the educator and staff support, and as well as maximizing the student engagement. And we're still looking at the effective delivery of curriculum, both academic and the social emotional curriculum as well, and technology and facilities that is needed, and also trying to stay within the budgetary restraints. We have received grants, however, those grants that are being used very effectively, and we are hoping to receive some more monies from those grants. We do give some expert recommendations in the plan, so that if you wanted to go online to look at any of the information and where we've retrieved that information for the plan, you can certainly do that, because we have all of that down on the paper. The main things that we're going to be looking at is the health component of the plan, and the major areas that we're looking at are the physical distancing, which is 3 to 6 feet, the face coverings, which is face masks, and isolation and quarantine component. So physical distancing, again, is maintaining a 3 to 6 feet distance separation in the classroom for students and staff, and that's where the desks will be 6 feet apart, and then in the hallways we'll try to be 3 to 6 feet apart. Masks will be worn throughout the day, and that's for everyone, and that is entering the building and upon exiting the building as well. So at first we did do just the common areas, but with the information that was given to us and recommendations that were made, the district has decided to go with a full mask wearing for the day. There will be mask breaks during the day, so that will be possible. Those will be set up within the classroom, so that's teachers' prerogative as to where that will happen and when. Some of it may be outside, and some of it may be within the classroom, safe area within the classroom, where the masks can be taken off for a few minutes. Let's see, the physical distancing, isolation, that comes in when there are those who have symptoms and they, whether it be the staff or students, and they go home. Everyone in the classroom is in an assigned seat, as well as on the bus, they were assigned seats. And if anyone does come down with symptoms or does get tested, and the school district will be notified, and the state will be notified. So the state does come in and direct or guide the district in how that process will occur, as far as what procedure they're going to recommend once somebody has COVID, or the quarantine period of time. When we go through the plan, we will see the days and the days and times of what that will look like as we move forward. The school environment, I think we kind of talked about that a little bit. Drop off and pick up. We do have transportation. Again, transportation, all students will wear masks and upon getting on the bus, and they will keep the masks on. The district will be checking for temperatures prior to the students getting on the bus. So at the bus stop, there will be a person who will take the temperature of all students prior to getting on the bus. If they have a temperature over 100, then they will not be coming to school that day, and they will not be coming on the bus. So parents or guardians or caretakers there will have to be somebody available at the bus stop in order to, while the kid's getting on the bus, in order to take those home that could possibly have a temperature of 100, over 100, 100 or over. Lunches there will be a modified process for lunch delivery as well. We are still working on that. And all visitors will be limited to the entrance hallways of both buildings. And we will set up, if there are any meetings somewhat, they will not be going to the classrooms for those meetings. We will be setting up another room so that the meetings can happen as close to the entrance of the school as possible. There will be co-curricular sports in the afternoon. That has not started yet. That will start 2 weeks after school has opened up, and that will follow the NHIAA rules of engagement. So that will be a separate set of rules that everyone will go by. The responsibilities, we do have parent responsibilities, student responsibilities, and personnel responsibilities. What we have created and developed for the state and for the community is a full and hybrid opening procedures. So right now we are planning on engaging in full opening of the school, where everyone will come back to school as it was last February and beginning of March. However, if we find that there are, identifying people that do contract the COVID-19 virus, then, we will refer to the state and ask for guidance as to when we would go into a hybrid situation. Hybrid situation does go, there are different schedules for those, and the administrators will go through those schedules and explain them. There are a list of parent responsibilities, and as I mentioned, one of them is that they, meet somebody at the bus or have somebody at the bus stop for your child, so that they can take care of the child if they have a temperature of 100 or over. Again, if you travel outside of New England, quarantine per current state guideline prior to returning to school. You have to practice hygiene and sanitization with your child before attending school, and reinforce the physical distancing and minimizing exposure to large groups. If you could possibly practice with your child on wearing a mask, it does have to cover the face and the nose, and most masks go around the ears. So if you could just have them get used to that, that would be great, and it would be easier for them to transfer those skills and feelings of wearing a mask when they come to school. Okay, the student responsibilities, again, Try to stay within your state. If you're traveling, you'll have to quarantine if you're traveling outside of New England. And at this time, that's what the governor has stated, and we will follow that until, they've made other changes to that. The scheduling, did you want to go over the scheduling?
Yeah. Welcome, families. Glad you could join us. I'm just going to kind of reiterate a little bit about what Dr. McGann said. The big thing is taking ownership and responsibility of your families as well. So if somebody's not feeling well, please start looking now to have a plan at your household in order to take care of those kids if they do have a temperature of some sorts, if for some reason something happens at school or we go to a hybrid situation. Please understand that we know that there's a lot of pressure on you for this, but you need to start planning now just like we are. So the scheduling scenarios are a couple of them. There's the full opening, the hybrid schedule, and then the full remote. The easiest one to describe right now is probably the full remote. It's going to be very similar to last spring, except what we plan on doing is putting schedules in place. And so it's going to be important for all of you to look at what that schedule looks like. And for the middle high school, it's going to be an alternating type of schedule. They'll see on day one, they'll see their first, second, third, fourth periods. On day two, they'll see their fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth period being advisory. And it'll flip-flop like that, day one, day two, day one, day two. And then typically the Friday will be like a kind of a catch-up day. But they will have a schedule if they are off campus. So the main thing is that we're looking at right now is full opening. The full opening schedule, we got some news yesterday looking at the bus opportunities that we have. We were able to understand that we're able to take everybody who's signed up for the bus and put them on a schedule where we will not have to stagger buses at this point. Pardon me. And so the daily routine and the schedule is going to be very, very similar. The one that you have in this opening plan, the full opening schedule, those times, again, you'll notice on the top left column it says tentative. And that's because at the time of this printing, we didn't know what they were. So right now, we are adjusting the schedule based on what we know from the bus company and how they can service our students. So it looks like it will be very, very similar to what last year's schedule was. Kids will be dropped off, or the bus will drop them off around 7:30 in the morning or 7:35, depending upon what the bus or walking. Just so you know, when they come into the bus or come into the school, we'll have two separate openings for the doors. If they've been riding the bus, they'll go in one set of doors because they've already been checked. If they're being driven to school, drive to school, or walking to school, we have a separate set of doors for those kids to process temperature checks and so forth. But again, if you know your child's not feeling well, don't send them to school that day. So full opening is going to be just pretty much what we did for last year, 8-period classes. Kids will be dismissed at 2:30 in the afternoon, and they'll arrive to school at around 7:30 to 7:35, depending on buses. And we would not be letting students in the building prior to that. The difficult one, I guess, pardon me, is the hybrid schedule. The hybrid schedule is going to be a week-to-week schedule. We just felt like having kids, a week at a time would be pretty satisfying because we can prep them for the following week. So for instance, middle school will be here one week, high school will be here the next week. While they're here for that week, they'll follow a normal schedule. Same thing that we'd be doing for the full opening. If they're out of school, they'd be following the remote learning schedule. Again, it'll be alternating day to day for that. And the point being is, like, students would be able to get possibly some work that Thursday or Friday before they go to remote learning the following week. We're still finalizing some intricacies with that. So what you see again with the hybrid opening and the distance learning are pretty good, but they're not completely solidified. But they're pretty much in place. I'll let Miss Everett talk about the elementary school because it varies a little differently.
Yes, it does. Hi, everybody. It's Ginny Everett. I'm really happy to be here and have a chance to go over some of the plans with you. As Dr. McGann said, this is not in stone. This is a work in progress. It is changing daily. The times on the elementary schedules don't really reflect what we're probably going to be doing. That being said, let me start with the full opening elementary schedule. And if you have your plan in front of you, that can be found on page 13. Ignoring the times, because that was one we thought we were going to have multiple runs for the bus, and that doesn't look like it's going to be the scenario. If we think about last year, if you were in attendance last year, we will have children arriving no later than earlier than 8:30 a.m. They will not be going to recess because there will not be, we're not doing full school recesses for social distancing purposes. They will be reporting directly to their classroom. When they come in, depending on whether they're arriving on the bus and they've already been pre-screened or whether they're coming into the building and we'll be screening them upon arrival, they will go through their screening process and go down to their classroom. We are going to continue with our breakfast after the bell program for those students who want to partake of that. If your child eats at home, that's absolutely fine as well. You may send them an extra snack if you think it's necessary, but we are going to continue with that. That food will in fact be delivered to the classroom in the morning. We are going to set up every hour on the hour. Our students will have what we call a rhythmic movement break. And if you have a live copy of this document, you'll be able to click on some links to back up some of the science and the recommendations for the social emotional well-being of both students and faculty and staff for those rhythmic movement breaks that help regulate the mind and calm bodies down. We're going to be doing those every hour. We will continue with our mid-morning snack at the elementary school. We will be continuing with all of our regular curricular activities. The difference will be that rather than going out as a huge school cohort, the recesses and lunches will be confined to that 8 to 12, depending on the particular classroom cohort of students that we can keep in a 3 to 6 foot distancing situation to ensure that we are following the guidelines of the CDC and the American Association of Pediatrics. So we will be serving lunch at this point in time. We are planning to serve lunch in the classroom. So if you're packing your child a lunch, we can still supply those children with chocolate or low-fat regular milk. We will have things being delivered up to us. We'll have water available, but you're welcome to send in whatever type of nutritious lunch you prefer to send for your child. There will be a selection of a cold lunch and a hot lunch, and that will continue. We will still be having our specials, our library, our technology, our art and PE and health. The difference being that those teachers will likely be coming into the classroom to deliver that instruction. I have told all of the teachers at the elementary level that they have carte blanche to take children outside for instruction and for activity anytime that they think it is appropriate in order to get more fresh air and to avoid the potential for having to wear masks more than necessary. So although they are sort of confined to that one classroom, we are hoping to get them outside and moving as much as humanly possible. PE will be the one class that they will be going outside with Mr. Laux. So that's how a typical day is going to look. If we look at our hybrid schedule, mine in the elementary school is going to look quite a bit different. And I would just like to say that this is something that I did a lot of research and a lot of collaboration with other elementary school teachers. And one of the things that we have decided to do here at Linwood is, rather than having, a week off or a week on, we are going to separate our building for the purpose. My assumption is the purpose of this would be if we find that our numbers are just too great in the building, which hopefully they won't be. But what we would do would be to have every other grade level coming into school. So for example, kindergarten, second grade, and fourth grade would be on a Monday. First, third, and fifth would be in on a Tuesday. And this A day, B day schedule would continue. So your child may have school Monday, Wednesday, and Friday one week, and then Tuesday and Thursday the following week. The reason that we're doing this is twofold. It does give us a way to mitigate the number of students who are coming into contact with each other in the building. And while the teachers of first, third, and fifth do not have children, they would be able to assist with the kindergarten, second, and fourth grade teachers. That way we would be increasing our student-teacher ratios to a higher level, which would really help us to delve into not just social emotional needs, but the academic needs of the students. I realize that this is a lot to take in. Your mind is likely swimming. Please do not hesitate to reach out with questions and concerns, and we will take them all on. But if you think about this, if you need to wrap your head around it, just think about the odd number grade levels will be one day and the evens will be the other, and just consider your kindergartners an even number. Okay, and I hope that helps. That schedule, that daily schedule, will be very, very comparable, whether it's a hybrid model or whether it's the full opening model. That will remain the same. We will still be having lunch in the classroom. We will still have morning meeting. We will still have all of our responsive classroom components of our day. We will still have our specials. All of that stuff will be happening. And you're wondering, so what's happening on the days that they're not there? Good wondering. So what they will be doing is going home with assignments and information and maybe projects to work on that would be suitable for their grade level, their age level, and the teachers are all planning to start the year off with a very intensive look at Google Classroom. Our hope is that every child, should we need to go remote or hybrid, will be very well versed in Google Classroom, and they will be able to check in, maybe look up a video or have a book with them that they're taking home in their backpack. All of these things will be front loaded essentially, so that they will understand what's happening probably far better than you and I will, because they are digital natives and their ability to buckle down and get things done on a computer is just impressive. So that's our plan at the elementary school as far as those two components go. For our fully remote, should that happen, we will be relying on the Google Classroom. We will be relying on Google Meet. Every child will have a device issued by the school. They will be taking that home with them. If we are going to a full remote situation, they will have, as I said, they will already be well versed in Google Classroom. Some teachers are planning to do like micro classrooms, and that's the example that's in your packet, so that every half an hour a child is rotating with different students, so they're still interacting with their peers and they're collaborating and communicating with people other than just their parents. Not that there's anything wrong with that. And then they're going to also have direct instruction from their teachers. Another scenario might be that there is a live streaming lesson that the teacher will elect to do. And we are really hand tailoring each of these remote models based on the age of the child in a particular grade level and the amount of recommended time, screen time, or academic instruction time for those students. We don't want to burn anybody out, but we also want to make sure that our students are maintaining engagement in academics. So I know that was a lot, and I apologize, but you need to hear it. So again, feel free, don't hesitate to call, email, whatever you need to do. We're going to be answering your questions. my understanding is, and correct me if I'm wrong, we'll be individually answering them, and then we are also going to be comprising a frequently asked questions component to go on the website and on the Facebook page, so that you will, you might have the same question that somebody else did, and you can just check it out there.
Okay, thank you, Jen.
You're welcome.
The next thing is the Durham Bus Company is the agency in which the district contracts with for transportation. And we will be abiding by their rules, and they are going by the recommendations, again, in regulations of the DHHS in the state. So there will be, once we're determined to be on what bus number that you're going to be on, that will be the bus you will always go on. We won't be able to switch buses in the middle of the week or year or whatever. Right now, we're going to, if the same kids are on the bus in the morning, they will be on the bus in the afternoon, unless the parents drive them one way or the other. But right now, we will have enough room on the buses to have 2 in a seat now, and everyone will be wearing a mask. There will be a bus monitor on the bus, and that bus monitor will be responsible for giving the kids getting the temperature from the students and monitoring the students while they're on the bus. The student expectations will be that they will be facing all in one direction at all times while they are on the bus. And hopefully the bus rides will be not too long. They'll be pretty short. Comparable to what they were last year, but a little bit shorter, because the number of students allowed on the bus is less. So the bus rides shouldn't be as long. The bus company will also be sanitizing each bus before and after the students get on the bus. And so every time the students get on the bus will already have been sanitized completely. So that will be taken care of by the company. We do have what the facilities has gone through as far as preparing the building for use with everyone. So you have a list of that in the plan, and it goes through all the procedures. It goes through the administrator, the teacher, and the nurse, and how that will be set up and how they will be guiding the students and parents and staff as they come in. Again, co-curricular sports, that is a separate page on page 24, and there is a guidance for that in the addresses right there. The plan also describes the responsibilities of the employee and what they have to go through, and the daily screening of employees as well. It goes through leave options for employees. As far as the plan goes for parents and children, that wraps up the plan, except for the response. Again, like I've mentioned earlier, the response process. In other words, what happens if? Right now, there's a screening at the beginning of every day where temperatures are taken, and if they're below 100, they can come to school. If they're at 100 and above, then they have to return home at that time. When the parent is deciding whether the child should come to school or not, one of the things that the CDC has stated was that if it's a new symptom, so for example, if your child has asthma and they have their typical symptoms of asthma, then that would be something where they could still be able to come to school. If there is a new symptom that your child is having that match the COVID-19 symptoms, then that is where you need to be concerned and follow the process. You can stay home for 10 to 14 days and then come back, or you can get tested. If it's negative, then the child comes back to school. If positive, this child has to remain home until the time in which the child is over the virus. And at that also, if the child is positive, again, the DHHS, which is the Department of Health and Human Services, does get involved, and they trace the student, and they can actually trace approximately where and when the student contracted the virus. Mild to moderate cases, the individual may return 10 days after onset. And if it's severe or critical cases, they usually return 20 days after the onset. And if symptoms are improved and they have been fever-free and off medication for 24 hours. So those are the, and this is all in the plan, so you can read that and stick it up in your refrigerator or whatever you want to do. If the student or staff refuse to take the test, which is fine, that's everyone's right to do that. They don't have to take the COVID-19 test. They will have to quarantine for 14 days. So whether they have the virus or not, but if they refuse to take it to determine if they don't have it, then that refusal means that they will have to be quarantined for 14 days. Students will not be allowed back in school, no staff, for that reason and for that amount of days. There are some within the plan. There are some tracing plan key principles that the DHHS has printed out for you, and some guidelines that you can follow. And those are also located in the plan so that you can look those up and look at that. And then finally, there are sources for research that we've had and that we've used to develop the plan, and it's great information and it's very interesting, and so you can certainly use that information if you'd like. That's all we have right now. As soon as we do update as we update the plan, we will be updating it and posting it on the website, on, let's see what else.
Facebook page.
Oh, Facebook page, website.
We can email it home.
And we can also email it home to parents. I would say thank you at this time, and if you have any questions, please email them in to the SAU on the address that was given, and we will respond as quickly as possible. Thank you all, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.